What's up, guys? It's Brandon Flash. Today, you're joining me at Circle K just outside of Bergen, Norway, in an area called Nesttun. At least that's what the map says. And we are at a charging station. The charger's under the charging canopy, or under the fueling canopy, which is now a charging canopy, I guess. And I'm going to activate the charger here on the Nesttun app, which is actually a joint venture that Circle K is part of, but allows you to activate all sorts of different charging stations under one app and with one billing method. This is our rental Volkswagen ID3. We're gonna get it started charging, and then I'll give you guys a full site tour. So, come with me. Our first tour. I'm going to plug it in. We'll open the charge port, remove the silly DC flap. We'll plug it in. These are very new stations, so these holsters need to be broken in a little bit. So this should show us plugged in here in just a second once I go back into it here. So plugged in, come in close, and we'll do start charging. Let's come over to the charging screen. We'll change it into English, make it a little easier, even though most of it I think people will be able to figure out. Go into active sessions, plugged in. We're now doing the CCS handshake. The Nesttun app is showing charging already. We're at a fairly high state of charge, but we're about to depart on a road trip, so we'll top it off as basically as high as it goes while we're here. I also have a video exporting on the new Model Y. There we go, we're ramping up. These show the voltage, the current, charge energy, of course, all that fun stuff. 38 kilowatt, 63%, which is not good, but also not unexpected considering we're at a fairly high state of charge. So, now that we've done that, so we have one charger here replacing a gas pump. We have another charger over here replacing a gas pump. These are 400 kilowatt Alpatronic HYC 400 units. These are actually basically brand new as far as I can tell. Even these ground markings and everything, they still have the chalk from when they did them. And then behind us, after this car passes by, we have a little bit older HYC 400, and then we have 3 HYC 300. So that means we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dual output chargers. All 4 of the ones outside of here have CHAdeMO on them as well, so there's a lot of legacy cars here. But we have 12 charging ports here, but we only have 2 gas pumps for normal cars. Each one can, of course, serve 2 vehicles. And then over there we have a truck diesel spot. So in effect, there are 5 liquid fuel spots, but 12 electric vehicle charging spots. Over here we also have a gas station service area, and let me just walk you guys around this site. Let's see how we're charging here before we continue this tour. So it's actually warming up a little bit, I think. We're up to 40 kilowatts now. So maybe that'll get up to 80-90%. So as I mentioned, this site has quite a few car washes, actually. We have 3 self-serve car wash bays, including with a little bit of a kiosk, so that way you don't have to use coins, since Norway seems to be a fairly, not cashless, but definitely not common to use cash from what I've seen. Society have trash cans all over the place because you'll want them. And then here you have all the different payment methods. Wow, they actually even take American Express here, which is surprising because most places don't in Europe or Norway as a whole. So that way you can activate your self-serve car wash. It's also very interesting in a climate with winter. Wow, Corvette in Norway, that's rare. To have one that's just out in the open, maybe for trucks, not really sure. It seems a little bit weird to me, but yeah. There's a tiny little Subaru. That is, I think, I don't actually know what that is in the US. I think that's a GM, maybe? Someone tell me. Over here we have another self-serve car wash. I saw the soft-serve ice cream in there, and it got me thinking about ice cream. Coming around back, we have an automatic car wash, so you come in from that side. That is probably the cleanest looking car wash I have ever seen in my life. Look at these floors. That's remarkable. Car washes in the US could take some notes. Even the brushes look very clean. course, bunch of trash cans and stuff back here. Typical backside of a gas station. And then we have another car wash. So coming around, you can use this one, same style. There's even an overhead fan in this car wash. Again, this floor is spotless as well. I don't know if they just redid it, but this is impressive. It's also very tall. So that's definitely taller than a usual car wash. Activation spot. Over here, we have a little bit of like a detailing bay, I guess you will. Oh yeah, look at the little ground marking for the vacuums. And it's like an old school, like Hoover style vacuum that it wheels around behind you. But we have 2 vacuums here, so I guess 2 people could use this at once if they wish to. You could have one person kind of just off to the side and then another person in the bay. Even with, I guess, hose management, not cable management, which is pretty nice to see. I think you have to pay to use these, I assume. I don't really see how you'd activate them. Maybe they're just free. That's entirely possible, I guess. Or maybe free with a car wash somehow. Not entirely sure. We also have air, of course. This seems to be very common in Norway. I think it's actually a requirement to offer free air. Coming over here, more signage and stuff to get people inside. And then we have truck diesel. So diesel here, we have, these are all B7. Or actually, that's D and that says B7. I don't really know European gas diesel stuff. It's a little wonky compared to the US. And then over here we have AdBlue, which is diesel emissions fluid. So pretty normal on trucks to have to use that, or even on passenger vehicles, realistically, that are diesels. But you could see how this site has really been converted from being a gas station, because there were gas pumps there, to being a fuel site, or yeah, just fuel site overall, which includes electric fueling. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of this as we go into the future in North America and hopefully around the world. Also, fun story about the car wash over here. So I think it's going to be my day 3 road trip. I don't know what it's going to be called yet, but we were here charging on our way into Bergen, and we saw someone in a fairly nice Mercedes EV pull their car into that car wash and then get out, activate the car wash, and watch it from the outside, and then back it out instead of pulling it through. So I don't know if that's normal in other areas or what, but that was very strange to watch as we were sitting in this exact spot, just watching the whole thing transpire. Another really interesting thing that I've noticed here in Norway is that there are so many chargers, and people don't really need charging as much here, even when it's offered, is that you'll see a lot of EVs just parked, just like going into places, not charging. So here we have an electric taxi just running into the store. We have an electric Kia EV6 just parked, not charging. And last time we were here, there were a couple others as well. So there's so much charging here, it's almost too much. And something else worth noting is that all the stores here, the Circle K stores at least, and a lot of the other gas stations, they've really shifted their offers inside to have more food options, better quality things. Some have nice seating, and they've really shifted the mindset of just people that are running in and grabbing something as after they're getting gas, to people are plugging in their car, spending some time inside, and maybe even enjoying it here rather than immediately leaving. Bethany, you've never been to Norway. This is your first time seeing the future, if you will. Do you have any thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on this? You've stopped at a lot of them now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely potential for what the future would look like, but it definitely, I don't think that's the current EV mindset, at least from a US consumer, because of lack of amenities. They're clearly utilizing the space where it needs to be utilized, which is great. But for someone who's going to have to sit here for a half an hour, or however long your car takes to charge, or however long you're trying to charge for, I'd like to see more restaurants come through, things like that, kind of like you're seeing with Iona stations or other places in the US.
Yeah, I think also it's worth noting that this is a good example of how it should be for more urban, suburban type charging, but not necessarily corridor charging, because you don't need 5 car washes for corridor charging. You're probably not going to wash your car on a road trip unless you're a weirdo like me that sometimes does. But I think this type of hub, if you will, is good for urban, suburban settings, because then you have the other things that you'll want to do with your car, like wash it or just grab some stuff inside and then continue on. Whereas on a corridor, you're actually trying to have a meal and trying to just get back on the road as fast as possible. So this is also a use case that you may not even need this fast of charging if there's good enough amenities, but because there's not really amenities that you want to spend more than half an hour here, the amenities work.
There was, I think, only one station we saw where they had the Burger King connecting the 2 sides.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the main amenity, but it was better than convenience store food.
Yeah, so that was in Greyland on our way to Bergen via the southern coast. There was a Shell on one side and a Circle K on the other side, and then there was a Burger King kind of as an overpass over the, I think, E16 that is, just connecting the 2 so that way both sides could be served by it. So anyway, would love to hear what you guys think. I think this is a great site. Comment down below with your thoughts. If you haven't already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. See you guys on the next one.